Hi, everyone. Welcome back. We're going to speak now with Nancy Haque, who is the Executive Director of Basic Rights Oregon, or BRO, and find out what they're up to, more about the organization, the work they do, a little bit about how they're being impacted by current times, and kind of go from there. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Deborah. How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
Good.
Good. Well, I appreciate you joining me. We are just sharing with the community, much in the same way that would happen at Pride, so that we're able to ensure that folks know the work that you're doing and what's happening.
Great.
So let's just start with a general, who is Basic Rights Oregon? What's your mission? What are you working on, or your programs? And then we'll get a little bit more specific.
Sure. Basic Rights Oregon has been fighting for LGBTQ equality in Oregon since 1996. And so for almost 25 years, we've been there really going for policy and advocating for the LGBTQ community. And so we're fighting, all of us, and really trying to think about what can give people true equal access.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what our first, 11 years, we were just playing defense because Oregon had over 30 anti-LGBT ballot measures in our state. The bad old days.
Mm-hmm.
You remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so our community was under attack. And so Basic Rights Oregon really formed to say, like, we keep fighting the same fight year after year. We need to do something different. We need to be able to galvanize our people and fight back, not just every 2 years or every 4 years, but every day.
Right.
And so that's why we were founded, and that's what we've been doing for 24 years. And so I think for 11 years, all we did was play defense. And then in 2007, we worked for political change. So another thing that we do is we help elect candidates. We have a political action committee, the Equality PAC, and it's always been active. It's always been a part of who we are. And it's been so important because in 2007, we helped flip the Oregon legislature to a pro-equality majority. And we were able to pass the Oregon Equality Act, which gave us the same rights against discrimination that 32 states still don't have in this country, right? That's freedom against job discrimination, freedom against housing discrimination, all those protections that we've had since now 2008. So much of the country still doesn't have, and it's heartbreaking, right? And luckily, one of our senator, Jeff Merkley, who was there in 2007 when we were fighting for the bill, has been fighting for it at the federal level.
Yeah.
But, with the current administration, it's not going to happen.
That's another interview.
Yes, it is.
That's a whole thing on its own.
Yes.
Well, speaking of current times, it's above and beyond we're very aware of the political landscape that we're currently dealing with and have been for a couple of years. And now we have a pandemic, and we have this thing happening that's impacting every single person in our society. How is it impacting what you're doing, your current priorities, and what your plans are?
Yeah, so we've had to really shift because we have not been in the office 13th, and we had to rethink how are we going to do what we do. And so the very first thing that we did was we sent out a survey to all of our supporters, right, via email, via social media, and we just asked, how are you? What do you need? Really simple questions. And what we got back was that people were scared, people were lonely, and we're really concerned about being able to access gender affirming care.
Right.
And so what we did was and being able to access benefits, because so many of us in the LGBTQ community lost jobs during the COVID crisis, right? We are very well overrepresented in the retail and restaurant industries. And So a lot of people lost jobs, or a lot of people suddenly became essential workers. But really, a lot of folks were really, especially people who identify as non-binary, and now that we have an X gender marker on driver's licenses, we know that more than 4,200 Oregonians, at least, identify as being non-binary. And so we have the data, right? But what happens is when people went to apply for unemployment, when people went to, apply for SNAP benefits for the first time, they saw only an M or an F.
Yeah, okay.
And so there was no choice for them. And so what we did was we went to the agencies and we were like, what are people supposed to do? People supposed to, apply for these benefits? And we understand a lot of them come from the federal level, and that Oregon agencies have very little leverage.
Okay.
But what we're able to do is get really clear statements from all those agencies about how people who identify as non-binary can apply for benefits on levels. And so, just things like that, really just figuring out like where the trouble spots are, where the problems are, and how can we help, how can we intervene, how can we be that, squeaky wheel to get answers that people needed. And I think that, it's just part of like advocacy. And then we've also had virtual town halls for 8 weeks, every Tuesday. Tune in. We're on YouTube Live and on the Bro channel. And really what we've been doing is really trying to answer people's questions. And so, and get people the resources they need. So we had one on basic needs. How do you access food banks if you've never gone before? How do you find how do you find information about unemployment? And then we had one on gender affirming healthcare, and really asking the questions like, what's going to happen? I've been waiting for the surgery my whole life, and that's heartbreaking. But we had folks from the great hospitals that we work with, from OHSU and Legacy, say like, we're trying our best every single day, right? And to make sure you're safe, and we're sorry, and I think it meant a lot for people to hear from the navigators themselves. We're doing our best here, and when we need to keep all the PPE for essential medical procedures and for people with COVID, like, it's just a global pandemic, right? I think it's been really hard on a lot of people. And, I know people in my life, right, who couldn't get the surgeries that they'd been waiting for. And and then we've had with them on immigration, on queer and trans people of color, mental health, just really, it's been a focal point for us, not just to share information, but also for people to know there's community and a place to come every week. To learn about issues that affect the LGBTQ Oregonians.
And those are happening on your YouTube, on Bro's YouTube channel?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And this kind of brings me to the next point of given all that you're doing and all you've done and all that still needs to be done, how can folks best plug in, support what you're doing, whether that's through monetary donation, volunteering, connecting, all of the above? How can they best do that?
So we still love our volunteers, and so there's lots of ways. So we're going to have a virtual luncheon on Tuesday, June 9th. Noon. Storm Larger's performing. It's going to be amazing. And then we're also, we love our volunteers. Right now we're using volunteers. We're going to use volunteers for a phone bank, which is super important. And I think that also donating actually is really important. We, a third of our revenue comes from our events, and unable to gather right now. And we're trying our best with virtual events, but nobody knows how they're going to turn out. And so we actually need your dollars to keep our work going, and to keep having leadership development programs, to keep advocating and fighting for LGBTQ Oregonians in the legislature.
Right, because it's not like all of that stopped because a disease came around the corner.
I think it's been pretty clear that discrimination did not stop.
Oh yeah.
It's been a very brutal week.
Yes, it has. Um, and for folks who are looking to ask questions, engage, donate, etc., is the website the best place to do that?
Yes, basicrights.org.
Basicrights.org. Um, and finally, vague question, broad anyway. If
Sure.
you wanted to say something to the community, if you had a thought for the community, what would that be in this moment?
We see you, we love you, and we'll never stop fighting for you.
Right on. Thanks, Nancy, for
Thanks,
joining me
Deborah.
and for all of the amazing work that you're doing at Bro. Um, I moved here in 1997, and my very first canvassing effort in my life was with Bro during one of the
Oh,
Measure Nines.
that's
So
wonderful.
I really appreciate you. I appreciate your leadership and what you're doing for the community.
Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Bye.